Welcome to our video series on more advanced topics for selling on eBay. In this video, we'll discuss hosting your own pictures to add to your eBay auctions. In this video, I'll give you a crash course on setting up your own website and how to use it to host images for your eBay auctions. It is slightly beyond the scope of these videos to talk you through the entire process in great detail, and there are plenty of other tutorials online that talk you through the process, and also the service providers who handle the necessary parts of the process will help you through it too. But let's go through the basics. First of all, you need a domain name. For example, yahoo.com is a domain name. That's Yahoo's domain. Google.com is a domain name. It's important to differentiate a domain name from an email address. An email address is, let's say, johnsmith@yahoo.com. If you take out everything before and including the @ you're left with a domain. And it can be www.yahoo.com. It can be, for example, auctions.yahoo.com. And actually, not to get too in-depth, but if it's, for example, auctions.yahoo.com, the auctions.yahoo.com, that's known as a subdomain because the main domain is yahoo.com. Auctions.yahoo.com is a subdomain of yahoo.com. But that's not really an important issue for us at this time. Anyway, perhaps you want to get your name, johnsmith.com, or whatever your name may be, and for getting a domain, and by the way, I do suggest that you get a .com domain. You don't have to. If you're in the UK, you can, of course, get the .co.uk, and there are plenty of other extensions available, and I'll come to that in just a minute. But you need a registrar to register your domain, and you generally register it for 1 year, or even up to 10 years, or even more if you want. If you register it for a year, after a year you need to renew it, or you'll lose ownership of the domain. So remember that. You don't want to lose your domain if you're still using it, of course, because you're unlikely to get it back. Okay, at the moment, I do change my opinion on these matters from time to time, but I've been using these people for a few months, and I do recommend them. As I record this, they do have a very, very good track record. It's Moniker at moniker.com, and they're known as one of the most secure domain registrars. In other words, once you register with them, it's very unlikely that you'll lose your domain. So they fight for your interests, and unlike many of these companies, you can actually get them on the phone, which can actually be quite a big deal sometimes with domain issues. Some companies only deal with email, and sometimes that just isn't enough. Okay, so you have to get a domain. For example, register domain, and you see these are the different extensions, and there are many available: .com, .net, .org, .info, .mobi, .biz, .us, .co.uk, .de, .tv, and so on. But I would generally go with one of the major ones. .com definitely, .net not so much, .org maybe if you're a nonprofit organization or foundation, .info if you really want to save money, but beyond that there really isn't a huge amount of reason to go with .info, .co.uk if you're in the United Kingdom, .de if you're in Germany, and so on. Okay, so I'm going to just hit the keyboard because I know this isn't going to be taken, and let's go. And not surprisingly, it's available. You see there's a tick by it, and you can choose which one you want. .com is $9.95 a year, .net $5.49 a year, and so on. So I'll untick all of these, and this one as well, the .eu, which is quite a bit more expensive. So you can register that or whatever you wish, and that becomes your property. And then to start using it with eBay auctions, you need to host it. A domain by itself doesn't do anything. You just own the name. To actually have a presence on the internet, you need to host that domain, and for that, you need a web host. Okay, this is very important, and your web host will help you through this, but you need to point your domain name servers to your web host. You need to point your domain name servers to your web host. And what that means is, effectively, you need to tell the internet that your domain is hosted with your particular web host. So web hosts, there are plenty of them. I recommend these people. I've been with them for many years, and they offer a great service. Like all these things, if you just go with the least expensive host, that's probably not the best option. You need to go with a service that's reliable for domain registration or web hosting. You really want reliability. Their prices aren't unreasonable, but they're also not the cheapest, but they offer good service. So very quickly, web hosting, and it starts as inexpensively as setup $20 and monthly about $6, which is actually cheaper than eBay's picture hosting service, their picture manager service, and you get 250 megabytes. So they do offer a great service, and I do recommend them. So all you do is get your domain, sign up to your web host, point your domain to your web host by changing the web server values, and again, your web host will help you with this. And then what you need to do is start getting stuff live on your website. Since this is a crash course on getting set up with your website, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just follow along with what I do and ask your web host if you need help. Okay, for uploading files from your computer to your site, you need FTP software. And FTP stands for File Transfer Protocol. That basically means that it allows you to copy files to and from your website. I work perfectly well with a free version of ACE FTP. If you search for free ACE FTP, that's all one word, ACEFTP, you can download it. So on the left is my computer, and on the right is my website. But actually, nothing's there yet. I need to connect to my website. Okay, so I need to connect. So you set up site profiles, and I have a demo site, and if we actually take a look at properties, this is the information you need. You need the server address, and again, your web host will help you with all of this. You need the server address, you need the protocol, just leave it at FTP, port 21 is fine, and you need your user ID and your password. Okay, let's close that and just double-click to connect. There we go. So I have a couple of demo sites, and I've gone with .info because these are just demo sites, so I just went with the cheapest option by using the .info extension for setting up these domains. So demo site 1, let's double-click to go into that folder, and nothing there, so let's bring up some sample pictures. Okay, I've navigated to the sample pictures folder, and I'm going to select all these and upload, copy to right. Okay, this should take just a few seconds. And almost done. And actually, you can see it here, 74%, 85%, and we're done. Okay, that's it. Those files are now hosted with demosite1.info. So if I go to the web browser, and actually I just backtracked a second there, I just paused the video for a moment, and actually I've set this up at demosite2.info for this demonstration, so I've just uploaded them to demosite2.info, and here are the images you see. I just went through the same process, uploaded them, and they appear on the website. So if I click through to Blue Hills, there it is. Let's go back, go to Sunset, and there it is. So that's the address you see. So now I don't need to use eBay's picture services because I've hosted the pictures myself, and I can just link directly. Using the image tag, as I previously detailed, I can just link to them directly from my eBay auctions. And really quickly again, I have touched on this before. However, going back to HMLref.com, a very useful site, I talked about HTML in a previous video, and the image tag, img tag, let's look at an example. You see that the image tag inserts an image into a web page. Actually, let me demonstrate that very quickly. Here's a blank page in Notepad, and Notepad is the default text editor for Windows. If you want to create a text document for HTML, you don't want to create a Word document or anything like that, because Word adds a lot of formatting. You want a pure text document, so Notepad works fine. Again, you really don't have to understand HTML, but it does help you understand the basics so you can insert images into your eBay auctions and so on. Okay, very quickly, all you do is img image tag source equals, and then double quotes, and then the address http://www.demosite2.info/sunset.jpg. And let's go back just to make sure I have the correct address. Right-click, copy, and you see it's a capital S, and I typed in a small s. And that wouldn't have worked because these things are case sensitive. So let's delete that, paste in what I've just copied. Okay, there it is, double quotes, and closing bracket. And actually what I'll do just for this demonstration, add a couple of lines before, and I'll add a paragraph tag. You don't necessarily need to know this, but I'll just add this so it's clear where the image is being pulled into. So paragraph tag, align equals center, and then this is a sunset. And closing paragraph tag. Okay, let's save that. File, save, and I'm going to save it to the desktop as sunset.html. A web page generally, though there are exceptions, it often ends in .html. Save, and okay, that's done. We can close this now. So now let's minimize this. And okay, there's our sunset.html web page that I just saved. If I were to double-click that, it automatically opens up in my browser. You see, there's the address from the desktop. And this is a sunset, and there's the picture. You see, that's all it takes to add a picture to a web page. Often, editors such as Front Page, Mozilla Composer, and so on make it a lot easier, but that's the actual code. It's quite straightforward. It only takes a line of code and a single tag, which is the image tag, the img tag. So you can just use that code, that img tag, in your eBay auctions to link directly to the images that are on your website and bring them into the auction. So you see that even though this image web page is on my desktop, the image is being pulled from demosite2.info. If I right-click and choose View Image to view the image only, see how the address changes here. You see the address changes to www.demosite2.info/sunset.jpg. That's where the picture is actually being pulled from. Let's zoom in, maybe 100%. So that's how you can get set up with your own domain, with web hosting, upload images to your website, which should then be live, and then link them directly to add them easily to your eBay auctions. If we go from the costs here, .com is, let's say, $10 a year. Hosting can be as little as, let's say, $6 a month. So over a year, that's approximately $80. But if you went with eBay Picture Manager, it would cost you $120 a year at least, or if you use their basic service. And okay, I quickly went to the fees page at ebay.com, and as you can see, after the first free image, each additional picture is 15 cents. So even if you're running, let's say, 2 auctions a week, and each auction has 3 images, that's going to cost you 45 cents per auction, 90 cents per week. So per month, multiply that times 4. and that comes to $3.60. So something to bear in mind is how many auctions you're going to be running, how many pictures you're going to need, and so on. But it can be a lot more economical long-term and give you a lot more flexibility if you do host the images yourself, and then just simply link to them from the eBay auctions.